Get ready for the world's greatest Arsenal podcast. Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Enjoy the show.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, I don't know what time of the day or night it is. I've had about 3-4 hours sleep. Hang on, it's gone on the loop.
Get ready for the world's greatest Arsenal podcast. Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Enjoy the show.
Round. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Guns and Yellow Ribbons. My name is Fergus, I'm your host, and we've got a slightly different lineup tonight. Obviously, we got Gunnar Trev, we got Lyle, and we also have Andrew. Listen, guys, it was such a good result to get up at Nottingham last night that we had to play the intro twice. That was the only reason we done it, Trev. You know what I mean?
I can tell already you're going to do my head in tonight, Fergus.
I am.
I've had a little sleep myself. I'm proper tired. But I can't wait to talk about this tonight. It'd be lovely to get Andrew and Lyle's views on things. Proper Arsenal podcast, and we've got some proper Arsenal fans joining us, mate.
To be honest, I have really struggled to function today. It's a busy month end and everything else, as Andrew will know. We work in a similar industry, and month end is always quite busy anyway. But with the lack of sleep, and then tonight I got home and I cooked a lovely mashed potato, minted lamb chops, and I sat there and I gone, all right, okay, I'll get up and get ready. And I was drifting off to sleep already. Lyle, how are you doing? Welcome. I only saw you. What was it? Less than 12 hours ago.
I'm good, Ferg. I'm good. I think I'm a mixture of tiredness, excitement, adrenaline. It's just one of those days which you have as an Arsenal fan, really, where you go into the game last night, you get in sort of at stupid o'clock in the morning, you wake up, you go into work, and it's just pure ecstasy and adrenaline which fuels you. And I'm good, mate. Top of the world. Anytime Arsenal get 3 points on the road, you're top of the world.
Yeah, 1:40 was my arrival time, and I think on the WhatsApp group you arrived about 2 or 3 minutes just before me, back from there. By the time I got to sleep and everything else, probably about 3 in. But yeah, Andrew, you sat in the comfort of your own home with your 100-inch TV in your beautiful office, and you sat there and you went to bed and got cozied up by 10 o'clock with a hot chocolate.
Absolutely,
lucky bastard.
Definitely, mate. I was, and straight after that as well, buzzing still after winning, after chewing off my nails off of that last 5-10 minutes. But do you know what a win that was, and we'll take it and bring on Liverpool Sunday.
Brilliant. Listen, a couple of housekeeping things. Our last episode from Monday night got snagged by Sony Music, as I thought it would, for copyright for the brilliant piece that we done. And if you do go onto Trevor's Hilsey Gooner's Twitter feed, the video is still there, but also the audio versions on all platforms. If you want to hear the end bit, which was we were just talking about, like the importance of North London forever for us. And I had a comment, I had a bit of it on our TikTok channel, and Lewis Dunford picked up on it, and he's actually commented and saying, he can't believe how the song has been taken up, which is absolutely brilliant. The other thing that I'd like to say is thank you, everybody out there. We've hit 1,000 subscribers. Listen, Trevor put a tweet up today, and Trevor's tweet was basically summed it up. We're not here to be rich, famous. We're here to be genuine Arsenal fans. And Trevor put a tweet up just to say, do us a favour, get us over the line. We're currently at 1,060 subscribers. So if you are watching on whatever platform, jump over onto our YouTube platform, click subscribe, click ring the bell, and you will get to see my ugly mutt at least once a week, and probably Trevor's beard. He's at Christmas, he's a bit busy, but otherwise, he's normally available. Trev, the power of social media.
Yeah, firstly, Vegas, I echo what you say. I'm truly humbled by the kind people that read my tweet today and subscribe to our channel. I think I've thanked everybody, and if I haven't thanked everybody, I apologise for not doing so. There were so many of you. I had no idea of the power of social media until today, and but I did have an idea. There's lots of nice people lurking out there, and they've all come in today. They've all liked our channel, and I'm humbled. Thank you very much.
Mm, mm. Lyle, you can see the positive sides of social media by what Trevor done with his tweet. You can also see the negative side, but I think you understand how this channel works and how we as a group and a couple of WhatsApp groups it's all about the positivity. It's all about the loveliness, as they say. It's all about supporting the man behind you, Mikel Arteta, whoever's in charge. It's all about supporting the Arsenal over land and sea.
Oh, absolutely, Fergus. I mean, at the end of the day, we are the Arsenal, and I think my favourite quote of all time is from the late David Rocastle, which is "Remember who you are, what you are, and who you represent." And I think, as an Arsenal supporter, as an Arsenal fan, we've always been a family, and that's what it's all about. We look after each other on and off the pitch. It's not just the 90 minutes where we're inside the stadium; it's everything around it, and that's it. And I think social media is such a powerful tool for good when it's done right. There's so many different stories that you see. There's obviously what Trevor's just said about your subscribers, what you did probably a couple of months back when you showed a video of that young lad in the wheelchair who was joining in at block 5-6 with all the singing, showing that at the Arsenal. We're a club for everyone. All are welcome. So no, love social media. I love everything that you guys are doing on this channel, and all of you individually, just to remind fans out there that you've got to support your club through thick and thin, but most importantly, stay classy. We are the Arsenal.
Yeah, and listen, as you say, it's more than the 90 minutes. It's about the people we meet. Obviously, us three retrobates were in the away end, as was Mark and his lovely daughter, and as we did meet you, but we got separated in different parts of the ground. But there you are with your great flag, with George, and obviously I don't know what he's calling up there.
Do you know what Sam's calling up? All the media channels saying that it's not done. The Arsenal are still here. We're rolling into February.
I thought he just made dogs go wild, but that's a different story.
Look at that, Ferg. Nobby's nailed it. Nobby's nailed it. I mean, we are a family. When I bump into Ferg or Dan or Lyle or any of the other lads, it makes me smile because I know I'm around decent people, and I just love I'm the oldest in the group, I think, by a fair way. And the way I'm made welcome every week and looked after it is superb. And Nobby's nailed it there. It is a second family for me.
Andrew, it was been a quiet January. And, we had 3 games, including the FA Cup game against Liverpool. And there was also the Dubai break. It's really important, I think, that Dubai break has really set as a good reset for the team, give them a bit of warm weather training, and and they've done, clearly you could see some of the efforts that were done with the set piece training as well, with the Palace game and then into this game as well. Do you think how important do you think that is leading up into this run in that we've got with Champions League coming in and then hopefully a title challenge?
Oh, we've had a great break, haven't we? I mean, we've had a really, FA Cup, Liverpool aside, we've had a good January. We've had a nice break, and you can tell that with the way the team are playing. I mean, some of the football last night, that one-touch passing was absolutely outstanding. I know we'll probably get to it later on, but the bit we've got to get to is actually putting the ball in the back of the net at the end of it. But they just look completely fresh and new ideas, and the set piece coach is doing absolutely well. I mean, look at the 2 goals Gabriel scored. I mean, they didn't quite work out last night in a couple of occasions because Turner managed to grab hold of it. You don't know if that's because he knew what was coming, but I just think we look. If the break has done us the world of good, and moving into February now, we've got Liverpool, and obviously Sunday we've got Porto. We've got games coming up. We've got some big games, and we do look like we've got a fresh energy to go at it, and hopefully that's a positive thing to keep moving forward.
Lyle, the lineup came up here with Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko. Rice, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus. No real major changes, but the one that we called for on Monday and we hoped that would happen was Emile Smith Rowe would get a run out. He replaced Havertz, but also it shows to certain degrees as well that, like Zinchenko, there isn't that huge amount. It's the squad depth that we've got. How happy were you with this lineup, first of all? How happy were you to see Smith Rowe start? And then we'll expand further as we go along about the squad depth.
Yes, I will, Ferg. So the first question about the lineup, I thought it was a good lineup. I probably would have gone slightly different. I would have played Trossard starting off the left-hand side, and I would have brought Martinelli off the bench later on. But apart from that, I think it was pretty spot on. Against Nottingham Forest, you need to have players who are physical, who are dynamic, who've got pace, because it's just that sort of ground and that sort of side. And then in relation to Emile Smith Rowe, I was just delighted to see the lad start. He's one of our own. He always gives 100% for the shirt. And I think games like last night is where you need people like that. And I just think as Arsenal fans, sometimes we need to take a step back and we have to realise it's a long season. You need to rotate the squad. I think sometimes we get too hung up on this player's not playing, that player's not playing, but there's a lot of football, and I think brilliant to see Smith Rowe get a chance. And I think he's going to be an integral member of our team, not just this season, but for years to come.
It's like a January signing, isn't he?
But he has not played. He's played 2 games, I think, in full, or like 2 starts in about 2 years. So he's not a lot of football, Andrew. How were you with Smith Rowe coming on? I think as fans, we're all got that like thing that he came through Hale End, and we want to see him be successful. Do you think he will be successful, or is this his last shot at it?
I think he will be successful if he can keep fit. And he can keep performing like he did last night. He's definitely going to be successful, because he's just what we needed. We needed that energy. We needed to move the ball quicker. We needed to get somebody just sort of zipping around and getting into those pockets of space, which he did really well last night. And you could just see. I mean, you guys were probably the wrong side of the ground for it last night, but you look at from where we were in the TV angles, he didn't stop. He didn't stop. Even the commentator said at one point he was on the left, then he was over towards the right hand side, then he was in the middle, and he just always wanted the ball. And I was gutted he didn't score. Actually, I thought he was actually going to put one away last night. But I think he's so integral to us moving into this busy part of the season.
Yeah, Trevor, Andrew's just a really important point in there about the movement, because what Smith Rowe did last night, which we've not seen for a long time, is he was overloading different flanks. And Andrew's probably seen that better than we did in the ground. But Smith Rowe was going down the left-hand side, he's going down the right-hand side. And I think that really helped us in the final third. So that's a really good point, Andrew.
It did. I was going to go to Trevor on that, because Trevor actually commented to me at one point about Zinchenko. And Zinchenko was like on the right-hand side of the pitch at one point when they were playing up the other end of the pitch. And you're going, what the hell is Zinchenko's doing there? So there's obviously a huge amount of movement over and back across the pitch, Trev.
Yeah, I can't move on from Smith Rowe until firstly I tell you, I called it on the other night, Fergus. I told you he'd play. But on a serious note, I think we mentioned the squad just now, right? And the most important part for me was that Smith Rowe came into the side last night and absolutely showed that he's capable of being a very important member of the squad. We lose a player, we've got Smith Rowe. And after last night's performance, I don't think many people can have doubts about his ability to comfortably fit in the side and make a contribution. And Andrew's right. He got himself about. He had a couple of shots at goal, and it would have been lovely to see him score. But apart from scoring, I thought he had a blinding 70 minutes. I really did.
Yeah, he was awesome, and he looked when he came when his number went off as well. When he came off for Havertz at the corner, he walked off, and again, you say he looked absolutely gutted. He was going off. He did not want to go off that pitch. He wanted to stay and keep fighting and keep going.
Lyle, I think we do need to contact the song police though, and get a song for Smith Rowe in his entirety. We have got a Saka one now on its own, but the joint song was brilliant. It was great. And we will talk about the away end as well, of how good it was, but not quite just yet. But the other things that we look at before we move into the nitty-gritty of the game is players like Trossard, like Partey. I know Partey wasn't available for last night, but those sort of players coming back in, as I said, leading into like this really busy period with Champions League football coming up, and a title, hopefully a title running coming. How important is the likes of Partey in that to add a bit of depth?
Oh, massively. I think Dale summed it up perfectly on the podcast the other week when he said that on his day, Partey's in the top three best defensive midfielders in the league, and I 100% believe that. I think you say Rodri's in there, and obviously Declan Rice, and I think you'd say those are the three best defensive midfielders in the league. If we can get him back fit, I mean, watch out. I think we'll start to blow teams away again because he's so important. When we transition in, getting the ball deep and just the way he moves the ball, the way he runs with the ball. He's been a massive loss this season. So I think if we can get him fit again, even if he can just play the away games, if we've got some massive away trips coming up, even if we can get him fit for those trips going to, the Etihad, the trips to, the new toilet bowl, and some of the other grounds we've got to go to, I'll just be happy with that one.
Looking at the first half, Trevor, it was quite. I'm loath to use the word frustrating, but it did feel frustrating at times. The reason I'm loath to say frustrating is because we dominated the game, a game that Forest came with a plan just to sit really, really deep and with 10 men behind the ball, a game that Forest looked at nick maybe something a bit like what West Ham done to us, but it was very, very frustrating from us because we were so far away. But 81% possession in that first half, and I think it was one shot on target. What did you make of that first half?
So you've asked me a question there, and then you've given all the answers. You know what I mean? Well, you're just grabbing a limelight all the time, Ferg. You've given all the answers to the question.
Go on, then expand. Then you're meant to be the intelligent one.
There was frustration for me last night, but it honestly wasn't frustration at the way the Arsenal were playing in the first half. Nottingham Forest were a home side, and they didn't want to play football. They'd seen what West Ham did, and they thought, right, we're going to have a go at that. They didn't press hardly at all, and they kept 10 men behind the ball, and they let us play up to the 18-yard box, and they defended the 18-yard box, I thought, and we were going round and round and round. And at that stage of the game, I was thinking, God, what I'd give to have a big forward on the pitch now. But it just goes to show how quickly football can change, because the second half, I'm not going on to the second half, I'm just using it as a comparison. The second half, I was thinking, we don't need a big centre forward. Look at us go. So if I was a Forest fan this morning, I'd have been emailing the City Ground and said, look, we were the home team last night. We didn't even try to play football in that first half. I'm paying 60 quid for my ticket. I at least want to see us trying to win. The only way I can think of it is that Forest knew we were that good. They respected us too much and did that, but they were poor. Forest were poor.
I'll tell you what did it for me though there as well. We were coming to the 18-yard box and we kept the ball kept coming back from Martinelli back to Zinchenko, and we kept sort of playing this kind of like half circle. Every time we crossed the ball, their lad at the back, Montiel, just stuck his head on absolutely everything, was heading everything out, and he was blocking everything. I think at some point we looked like we'd run out of ideas in the first half, and we just didn't quite know how we were going to break down that line to actually get anywhere near the box.
It was frustrating. Lyle, nerves. There was quite a lot of nerves among. Was it on the pitch as well as off the pitch? Because I know definitely amongst us in the away end, we'd all commented about, like, we've been here for years and we've seen the FA Cup and we'd seen last season and we'd seen this, then we've seen that time. And there's many people who had never seen us win at the City Ground. It's like 10 years ago since we won at the City Ground. I hadn't seen us win at the City Ground.
Yeah, look, Ferg, it's an absolute spot on point. I think people need to be respectful as well. When you are going away from home in English football, there's no easy game. You can't be complacent, especially when you go to old school grounds like the City Grounds at Nottingham Forest. There's not many of them left, but under lights, when the atmosphere starts to get going, the place really starts to rock, right? So you've got to be on your A game to win there. And I think as fans, we all knew how important yesterday was. We had to win. It doesn't matter how we did it, by hook or by crook. If we didn't win that game, failure to win means that it would have been very difficult for us to, go on and challenge for the title. So I think
we were saying that in the week there, weren't we? We were saying we had to talk about that in the week, and that's what we were saying about how massive that game was. And everyone was kind of saying, "Oh, we'll go there and win 2-3-0," and it was like,
no. And this is the modern day fan. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't quite understand that you can't just expect to turn up, play a team like Nottingham Forest, stroll the ball round, and you'll be 3-4-0 up in the first half. It doesn't work like that. They will sit in, they will defend like their life depends on it. And you saw that. You saw their defenders. They were with ferocity. They were throwing themselves about. They were trying to block everything. And this is English football. This is why we love it, because it's the battle, and you've got to have that fight, and you've got to have that desire if you want to get over the line.
We went into the second half. Half time was 0-0. Went into the second half, and the players obviously playing towards us. And Trevor had said to me beforehand, because where I was, I think you were a couple of rows behind me, Lyle. I don't know what it was like for you, but every bit of play was behind that red stanchion that was holding the net. And I kept on doing this the whole time, just trying to get around it. It was like the most restricted view of Everton was even a less restricted view than what I had at one point last night. Eventually we all shimmied up and down and we got to see everything. But Trevor said to me, he said, "Oh, you won't be complaining when they're playing down this end, Ferg. Oh, wait till you see, wait till the back of that net is bulging." And Trev, we saw Odegaard looking at almost straight in the eyes at us. We saw Saka, and the position which people will see, and many people have already seen, where we were was literally right in the goal mouth. How many times do you think he's gonna just let one go and shoot, and it's going to go through the net and hit me? And they passed it out wide, back out to Saka, back out to Martinelli. That was frustrating, wasn't it?
Well, in the second, it was a game of two halves. As I just said, in the second half, it wasn't frustrating because I thought that, I don't know whether Forest tired early in the game from their constant defending and chasing, or whether they just opened up slightly. We looked like scoring a bit more in the second half, and all you could tell. First, that was a great away end last night, right? That was a vociferous, great supporting away end, and the way those players, when they played towards us, were looking at us, egging us on. The way they celebrated the goals, those players, I'm 100% certain, lived off us last night. We lifted that team in the second half. I'm sure of it. I'm positive of it, I was so proud of every single Arsenal fan in that end. And when you are that close behind the goal, and we're playing that end, you live it, don't you? You properly live it. You see the pace of the game better. You don't see the movement in the game better because they're low down. But you see the pace, you see the movement to feet. And it was a great second half. We called their bluff, and we played and we scored. We persevered and we scored two good goals. You can blame Turner for one, but at the end of the day, we did what we needed to do at a ground that not many teams have got 3 points at this season. Yeah. So I was very happy with the second half, Ferg. Very happy.
Yeah, to be honest, you talk about seeing and feeling and being part of the game. There was one point I think Martinelli slid in the box, and whatever way the water was on the pitch, it looked like he'd left sparks on the pitch in the box. And I kept on looking, going, really, is there some plastic in the pitch that's like slightly ignited? But it was just the light and the water that was on there. But you can hear, you can feel, exactly the impact, the speed. And I think that's the difference of watching live football and feeling live football. And we're fortunate enough to be able to do it. Many can't. Andrew, you mentioned a point to me before we came online, which was really important as well, that they made the substitution, Nottingham Forest, of Nwanyi, who eventually became the goal scorer for them, that it changed their style of play. Go on, expand a bit further.
So you look at like when he came on, and I said to Theo, we're watching, I said, this is going to open up now, because they're going to get the ball to him, he's going to run at us, and they're going to trying to get us on the counter attack. And I think Nuno just thought, we're going to have him here, because there was a couple of times when they broke forward and you thought we looked a bit vulnerable, but they he came on and the play just opened up, and you look how much space that Odegaard had and how much Zinchenko was bringing the ball out with. And I think he gave us a different, he gave Forest sort of like a different dimension to look at. But what it did was give us some more space that we could actually open the play up and play that a little bit quicker with a bit more space between everybody. And I think it was a tactical substitution that he played, but worked well into our hands to give us that ability to get the ball across.
Yeah. Ferg, I'm just changing the subject slightly. Great point, Andrew. But I've seen a comment come in here, and I'm not quite sure. I haven't got a clue what it means. So if I put it up, can you explain, please, Ferg? What does that mean, Ferg? Good old Dan.
Dan, on that last night on that occasion, I definitely didn't. Maybe when I've had a Chinese and a few pints beforehand in the Woodbine, yeah. But last night, no. It was I was driving. I saved those for the Emirates, Dan. So, like, yeah, go on. I tell you what, that Ginger Whinger, 1:15, I dropped him off at, and he has the cheek to do that in there. Look,
no thanks.
65 minutes in, okay. I'm loath to show very much coverage of this, but I'm only showing it because watch at the very end of this sequence. It is Jesus' goal at 65 minutes in, but at the very end sequence, he actually comes to us right in front of where we are, comes behind the goal, and he puts his hands out like that. I can see the beads of sweat, and he's looked, and he literally did look, as you said, Trev. He was feeding off that crowd, and he was looking at all of us. He wasn't just standing there to a camera. There was no cameras around him. The cameras had to come back round to catch all these angles. He was loving every second of this.
He's running through, and from a ridiculous angle, he finds the back of the net. The flag stays down.
I won't show any more because otherwise we'll get done. Lyle, go first.
Do you know what? I think I wrote this down. I had to write this down. There's three things I wanted to talk about. So in the first half, I just felt we played well. We just lacked a little bit of courage in front of goal and just that bit of quality. And my boy, did Jesus pop up with that in the second half? It was that bit of courage, take the player on, go down the line, and then that bit of quality to just poke the ball in. And you know who he reminded me of? And obviously all you gentlemen will know this player, one of the great strikers of all time, the original Ronaldo, R9. He would have been proud of that finish. Just a little poke past the keeper, fantastic goal. And then the fans went wild behind the goal. And you know what? Credit to the fans. One of the best away ends I've been in with Arsenal for quite a while. That we lived and we breathed every minute of that. And I'm so happy for Jesus. He always gives 100% and he deserved that one.
Yeah. Andrew, Matt Turner's a gooner.
Yeah.
He didn't have the best game, did he? He had a great chat with us in the away end, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But he let that one through his legs. But it was well worked by Odegaard beforehand, and Jesus only 2 or 3 minutes beforehand had hit the upright. So the pressure was on. The guy had made some great saves in the first half, but I just think it just came on top in the end, don't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was kind of, when Jesus hit the post, and there was that thought into my head. I just thought, this is going to be another one of them nights, and as a kind of thing, it can't be. He's got to get there eventually. But the play down the side to get him on goal, and when he started running to the byline, it was like, where's he going? And then you're waiting, begging for him to put it onto the penalty spot, and then he managed to put it through his legs, which it's such a classy finish. It's just showed. I mean, he was immense last night, Jesus. He was absolutely awesome. Deserved everything that he got. Celebration with all the away fans.
Trevor, there's loads of comments in the chat about the away fans, and we will go on to the rest of the game. But since so many people have come along and said that, like Gary talked about the bejesus, and Mike Bulbeck has talked about the Nottingham Forest fans. Talking about the loudest fans that they've heard, and we talked about how loud the 29,000 were there at our last away game last season, where they sang to us we lost the league at the City Ground and stuff like that. It was good banter, but honestly, that away end was just unreal, don't you think?
Oh yeah, it was. It was a superb away end to be in. Everyone was up for it, even when we were struggling first half. I don't think any of the fans' heads dropped, and the players would have noticed that. I was absolutely over the moon with it, and it has to be said as well. It just goes to show how footballers on the field. We say fans, have an effect on the footballers, but the footballers also have an effect on the fans, because from the opening moment, it was clearly obvious that Forest were under the cosh, and as the game moved on, they were under the cosh for 99% of the first half, and that quietened their fans right down. They quietened their fans right down, and it didn't lift their players. So it was great. I thought our support was great. I thought our players quietened Forest fans, and we know how loud and good those Forest fans can be. They can be really, really good, but they weren't last night. They weren't so loud, and that's down to the way our players performed, and also the noise being made by the Arsenal end. Superb.
You could hear it on the TV. You could hear the difference in the crowd. It's like, we were there. Unfortunately, we were there, in the Forest end, because that's the only place where we get some tickets a couple of years. And we were sat there like when they scored, and we were the only ones sat down in the whole stadium. It was blatantly obvious we weren't Forest fans. But the noise in that place was immense. But last night you could hear it coming through the TV. All the songs coming back from the Arsenal fans. It was just absolutely awesome. Gutted we weren't there to be part of it.
Do you know what last night reminded me of? What last night reminded me of was the 21-22 season, just after COVID, where fans were going to the game not with the expectation that their side was going to win or score 5 goals. They were going to that game to support their team. And last night, I remember walking into the ground, and it reminded me so much of that season, just the vibe. You see all the faces, the diehards who are always there, and you saw all these young kids who'd somehow managed to get their hands on tickets by hook or by crook. And in the stand, it was just the love of the team, and it was just the support of the team. There wasn't any expectation. No one was, saying, "Oh, this player's this player's that." It was just getting behind the team, and that's what we've got to do as fans. If we want to go back to where Arsenal Football Club has been historically, winning titles, winning the big cup competitions, you've got to get behind your team through thick and thin. And last night, I think, was the perfect example of that. So well done to every single Arsenal fan who's in the ground, and then all those at home with all the well wishes on social media. Terrific.
Can I just make a point of order though? There was one chap, and we're all trying to get the Over and Over song going. There was one chap, and he was in between the road between us two, Lyle. He was singing over and over like Usain Bolt was in charge of the conductor. It's going to be a slow, and we could hear it over in the far corner, and it was going. Me and Dan, and there was another chap behind us, tried a few times to get it going. And this guy's going over and over and over again. Oh, please.
Do you know what? My good mate was next to me, and he's been going to Arsenal for 40 odd years, and he said, "I need a time machine to send that guy back to the 80s."
Look, fair play to the fella. He really was trying, and he actually started singing and trying to get the end going, but he was causing half the problem while the end wasn't going. Because
the band was out of time. The band was out of tune.
Trev, he was right behind you, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I just turned myself off to it, and when we were singing Paddy and he got going, I just sort of mumbled along and tried to mumble along at the pace of the other rest of the crowd there. But it was difficult with him going in your ear. But as you say, Fergus, he was a superb Arsenal fan. He didn't stop shouting for our team all through the game. We're not knocking him for it. We're just having a little giggle at his expense. That's all. You know what I mean? It was funny, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Listen, 75 minutes in, we doubled our lead by, we capitalised on another Forest error. And Odegaard picked up on that pass, and a great pass to Saka. I thought he was going to overpass it again, but he took a great shot, Andrew. And
yeah, he did.
The back of that bulged. We were just recovering from like Jesus' second coming sort of thing. So it's we're still catching our breath.
It's such I jumped up before he'd even hit it. I was up on my fingers. I was like, just please hit the back of the net with it. So wanted him just to score because the lad's he's gone through so much, and every time, I don't know if you guys heard it on there, but every time he touched the ball last night, he got booed. Every time he was on it. And I just kind of wanted him just to be able to put the ball away and turn around to them all and just shut them up. And he did. You can tell he's either shattered or he's, just that little bit. But hopefully that goal gives him the energy to push on and go and bag a couple against them on Sunday.
Yeah, it wasn't just booing, but we'll go into that in a few minutes. Let's just finish the game first, because there's some other stuff I want to touch on very, very briefly. But I think it's something that we do need to talk about because, there was a couple of things. There were some Arsenal fans in the wrong end and celebrating, which we saw with the consequences in the FA Cup of the weekend, what that can do sometimes. But before we go down that route, what did you make of Saka's goal then, Lyle?
Do you know what, Ferg? It was fantastic. And like I said, there were two things that I really wanted the boys to do in the second half, which was show some courage in front of goal. No one is going to have a go at you if you have a pop on goal and it doesn't, it doesn't come off. And then show that bit of quality as well, right? And he showed that, right? He showed the courage, to take the guy on, and he showed the quality, and he's banged it on his right foot. And I think that's just superb. And that is what Bukayo Saka does when he's at the top of his game. And I think the fans have just got to get off his back a little bit. I think there's been certain people saying he's this, he's that, blah, blah, blah. Look, he's a young kid. He's played far too much football for my like over the last 2 or 3 years. I think the break in Dubai would have done him the world of good. It'll come back recharged. This kid, I'm telling you, it is going to be an absolute talent. And we've got a new flag coming. Don't worry, Mikey Bullbeck, he's got it coming. Seriously, Bukayo Saka.
We've seen the preview. It's definitely worth.
It's good, right? It's good.
Does that debut in Porto, Lol? Does that flag debut in Porto?
Why not? Why not? But Seventh Heaven. This kid, right? I'm dropping the spoiler alerts, but he could, and I think is currently going to be just as good as some of the great number 7s we've had at this club. So brilliant finish, and I think there's more to come for Saka. I think he can start doing this, more regularly. He just needs a little bit more help around him, because too often he's double downed on. He's getting kicked, by opposition players, blah blah. He just needs the help. But no, this kid's going to the top. I'm telling you.
Trev, your view on Saka's overall performance, and probably you're going to reiterate a lot of what Lyle said anyway, because you've been saying it for ages. The guy's a worldie.
I feel like Lyle's just nailed it there. I mean, as you know, mate, I've been saying ever since I first saw the boy play, he's a class act. He's going to be one of the best players in the world. I was looking at some ratings the other day, and he's rated. I don't believe he's rated, but he's rated right up there. He's one of the very best already. And what happened last night was he's been a little bit tired, or he's just been off the boil a little bit for a few games, and that happens to players. That's acceptable. You don't drop a player of Saka's class because he's a little bit off the boil. You keep playing him because you know he's going to come back good. And last night he came back good, because before he started his quiet period, when he cuts back inside like that, there's only one thing you're thinking here: goal. Saka scored. And last night he did it again, and he nailed it. And I'm hoping that is now kick-started him again, because we've got one of the best players in the world. And as I said, when he cuts his side like that, Saka, when he's at his best, you don't have to think twice about it. It's a goal. It's in the back of the net.
You go back to like Smith Rowe's movement as well, though.
Last night, looking so he looked fitter, and he looked like he'd got a yard of pace back. And most importantly, he looked confident last night. He looked confident, and I can't speak any more highly of him. That Lyle nailed it, and I've just took it forward.
Do you like with Smith Rowe's movement though? Do you reckon that's created more space for Saka as well? Because you can't when he's getting the ball at the moment, he's getting 2 or 3 players on him every time, because they're just going to shut him down. So we can use Smith Rowe and get into those other pockets and the overlap, or just going on the underlap with him and pull somebody away. It's going to give him more space to be able to get the ball on his left foot and do what he does best.
Well, you see, it's interesting, right? Sorry, Ferg, I've come back in there. I do apologise. Yeah. And it's a debatable subject, right? And I'm not saying I'm right here, but these are my thoughts. This is what we're here to do. What Andrew said there about, and Lars said about Smith Rowe moving quicker around, covering the ground quickly, making space for other players, because he takes players away from him when he makes his runs. That's something Havertz doesn't do so well. Havertz's attributes are elsewhere, right? So it's a great point to make about Smith Rowe last night. He certainly made us look different in the first half.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, we went. We got the second. We got 8 clean sheets on this season, equal to Liverpool. We were hoping for a clean sheet last night. The 5 minutes added time went up, and their substitute Owoni, the Nigerian player who came in back from the AFCON, and there was doubts about his fitness and everything else. He came in and he did cause us some problems when they broke. And due to, I didn't see, Lyle, did you see what went on with Zinchenko? People saying with the offside, and there was an issue over the corner, and he lost his man and all this sort of stuff.
No, I didn't see it at all. No, I didn't. I'm not sure what people are getting upset with Zinchenko for. I think he's one of those players who comes in for unfair criticism, and I think again our fans have just got to be careful on this. Criticize a player, if they've made a mistake and all those sort of things. But some of the stuff that he's getting is just a bit over the top, I think.
I thought he had a great game yesterday.
He did, exactly. If you watch the highlights back, in my humble opinion, I thought Saliba's kind of made a rash one. He should have just held his ground. But I think Andrew's probably going to have the deciding say on this because he saw it on the telly.
But, and bearing in mind as well, Andrew, while I was there, I got a message from an old colleague of mine up in Scotland, and he's watching on telly. So your view is skewed slightly different to ours. Is what I'm trying to get at. That he was coming along and saying Zinchenko's your biggest problem. You've got a left back problem. He slows your game down, and I'm going, hang on a second. I've just watched him. I know I've criticised him maybe defensively sometimes, and he's better as that inverted player. But I've just watched him come in and save us 2 or 3 times in that first half. He's been absolutely outstanding. I thought for a good 90% of that game, I thought Zinchenko was absolutely brilliant. Andrew, how did you see the goal we conceded in Zinchenko's performance?
Going with Zinchenko, I thought Zinni was great last night. I think he moved again. He's coming forward off. He's creating the width. He's getting the ball out wide. He's enabling us to push on. I think my frustration with him sometimes is, we can break quickly, and he puts his foot on the ball and stops the play. I think he can just push on that a little bit more. We can speed. We can get that ball moving a bit quicker. And maybe in the first half, if we'd have done that, potentially we would have broken him down a little bit more. But leading up to the goal, there's a little bit of luck involved in it as well. I mean, if you look at when the ball comes across and the way that it bounces, you've got, I think, Saliba and I think, is it Gabriel that stood with it? But the ball just kind of takes a funny bounce and just lands at his feet. And all he's got to do is poke it in. There's a huge slice of luck with that goal going in as well. He's done well to create the space, for him to turn and be able to put it through by, out-muscling Saliba and Gabriel. But there is a bit of luck with it. But it's Zinni for me again was outstanding last night, and I think he just gives that passion, doesn't he? He doesn't want to concede goals. He wants, his job as a defender is to stop him from going in, and it's like the same as a striker. They pride a goal, a clean sheet as much as they do a striker. So if they're going to argue with each other because something's gone wrong, then I'm up for it, because let's get it out and let's get it sorted.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor, we're 91 minutes into the game. Sorry, Lyle. We're 91 minutes into the game. We've just conceded a goal. We've given our clean sheet away. We've all gone nervous again. We've all got really worried. And you've turned around to the young lad behind you. My Apple Watch has got off and thinks I'm having a heart attack. So. And it looked like we could have conceded a penalty, which at one point as well, which I was worried about. I think it was just somebody went down and got injured. But
they looked at handball.
It looked for a handball, was it?
Looking for handball, yeah. So they looked for the first one. They looked for a shove, and then they stopped and said they were looking for the handball because they were. And you can see Raya looking at the referee, going, "What for?" And the referee even shakes his head and goes, "Don't know." And the commentator said they were looking for handball when the ball got booted back in.
Could we even say we weren't due to win that one last night, so they were looking for a reason?
Do you know what? Right, I thought they're looking for a reason not to give us this. It's like this is going to be like one of them cunt ones when it's going to come back, and it's like, we're going to get the world's dodgiest penalty because of VAR again, and then it's like we're not going to do it.
Yeah, it was. Fergus is right. My Apple Watch was vibrating away on my wrist, telling me I was about to have an heart attack when I knew I wasn't. But those last 5 minutes last night, they're the 5 minutes that send me to the concourse. Fergus knows better than anybody. I'm a bit sad and I can't take the pressure, but there was no way I was coming out of there last night. We were there to celebrate a win. And if you've got a 2-1 lead with 5 minutes to go, every game is a bit nip and tuck in it. And that was what happened last night. I don't think Forest deserved to get anything out of the game. If we look at it logically, no. I don't think they came and played football enough to deserve to get something out of the game. So it was the right result for me in the end. I hate 5 minutes like that. Arsenal, please, just next week, go 3-0 up, will you? So if they score a goal, we're still safe.
Yeah. There was a talk about a confrontation between Zinni and Ben White, and Mike puts up a comment here which might explain what went on. And later we saw Arteta and Arteta and Zinni not remonstrate. Arteta was putting him in his place and just saying, no, we don't have that sort of argument among ourselves, is how I read it. I thought he was just trying to say to him, no, you calm down, because I saw something happen on the touchline, couldn't see anything else. Lyle, how did you see this situation, and how do you think Arteta handled it?
Yeah, look, Arteta's handled it really well. I played fullback, when I was younger. You're always going to have those kind of disagreements as a back four. The most important thing is you say, look, we won the game, and those are the sort of things we can work on the training ground. My good friend Mike's made a really, really good point, about the Zinni offside, and I think we've got a top class back forward. One thing I would say, so I grew up watching, in my opinion, one of the greatest centre halves of all time, which was Tony Adams, right? And Tony Adams, used to talk to Ashley Cole. We would talk to, Nigel Winterbird, Dixon, whatever. They'd all talk to each other. And the one thing that I'd love Gabriel to do just a little bit more is just talk to Zinni and say, hey, look, mate, just stay in line, Because I feel like Zinni's the sort of player who needs that. In the same way, when I was growing up, there's a little boy, going to watch the Arsenal. Tony Adams used to do that for a young kid called Ashley Cole, who came on to be one of the best fullbacks we've ever seen. So, it's a learning curve. It's something which on the training ground, Arteta's just got to say to the lads, look, just keep talking, boys, just keep watching the line. But we want to see that passion first. That is what we want to see. We want to see players who care. If they walked off, shrugged the shoulders, a bit like what David Luiz and that clown Mustafi used to do back in the day, you'd be upset.
Why? What's happened? What's he covering his mouth for? Burnley.
Moving on. Anybody watching TNT too? Yeah, moving on.
Oh, listen, right. I want to come in on that. We can't move on from the Zinchenko thing and the offside for a minute, because something just come to mind then as the boys were talking, that Zinchenko plays a high line all over the field, right? So when he has to get back sharpish to try and cover his left back spot, he's not going to try and play the offside trap from holding a line, is he? Like Lars said, the old Adams offside, Zinchenko will never be there to do that, because Zinchenko, 99 times out of 100, is running back to make the tackle. He's not moving up to make the tackle, So that must make him judging the offsides much harder. I don't care about White and Zinchenko, as long as we see a picture in the next few days of him having a laugh and a joke on the training field, because the passion is great, but you've got to leave it out there. You've got to move on and be the best of the mates again. A friendly side win, a side that plays a team win things, right? It's the team game, football. And if two guys fall out, then that's not ideal. So hopefully they've made it up this morning, had a kiss and a cuddle, and it's all good again.
Right, a little bit of a humorous one before I want to go into slightly the more serious one. Were you in the Navy, Trev?
No.
No. You know where I'm going here.
Tried to hide that comment.
So I can't remember who was in the box, but somebody was in the box. I think it might have been Eddie or something like that. And somebody came near him, and Trevor just shouts out, "Dive, dive, dive!" I thought it was a Hunt from Red October.
Look, right, when I'm standing in them stands, right, and I desperately want my team to win, if I think we can get a penalty, I'm going to shout dive, 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 because they all do it, and I'm going to shout it. Cheers, Dan, by the way. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, you need mates like him, don't you?
Yeah.
That's both of us he shit upon tonight. Listen, one of the most disappointing things I heard, it came up on Arsenal Fans Forum. One of my friends local to me made a comment this morning when I woke up and said, because somebody else had made a comment in retaliation to his observation. Have a quick listen to this. It's not a long clip. Again, you have to listen carefully, but I can hear it now. It's pointed out. I don't know if you can. Let's have a listen. That was towards the end of the game. That was Bukayo Saka coming up from where the away fans and the home fans meet in the corner there, and somebody decided to call him a monkey. For me, that person needs to fuck off back to the terraces of Stamford Bridge in 1980. I'm just unreal. Trev, go on.
that's that. Listening to that, I saw it earlier today actually, and it sets off a multitude of emotions in me. You know,
Yeah.
it sets off a multitude of emotions. I was sick, I was sad, I was embarrassed, and I just couldn't believe that what I'd heard. And I know there's a camera on every fan in that stadium, right? There's a camera on every fan in that stadium, and I would just hope that at this very moment in time, they're studying those cameras and looking for that man. And to all the people that I know of all races, on behalf of football fans, I apologise. Right. Apart from that one, I don't apologise for him. I hope he gets locked up. Right. But it's not acceptable behaviour, and it just, I don't know. I lost for words sometimes because my emotions take over. And we said earlier, right, and football fans were called out for a lot, right? But I can only speak for at the Arsenal. At the Arsenal, when I walk on that concourse, I see football fans and I see friends, right? And then if anyone sees anything else, then you're not welcome at football. You're not welcome. Go away.
Lyle, as a man of Irish and Jamaican heritage, what does that make you feel like?
Look, Ferg, it's sad, but I think no kind of racial abuse is acceptable. On a football pitch, walking in life whatsoever. But I think we've got to be careful. So let's not tar all Nottingham Forest fans with the same brush,
No.
because we know there's some terrific Nottingham Forest fans out there. I think, to be honest, it's about education. These people need education, Fergus, more than anything else. Yes, bands and all of those sort of things, fantastic. But I think education is the key bit. If we sat that kid down next to Bukayo Saka, right, and he had a chat with Bukayo Saka, a guy who plays for England, represents his country, is a hero for a lot of kids in this country, not just Arsenal fans, but people who are England fans as well. Would he say the same thing? And that's what I think. I think we've got to be really careful on this topic. I think education for me is the most important bit. Once you get to know someone and all of this sort of things, your perceptions on different people, change, and people from different backgrounds. And so I think we really just need to try and educate people. And I think also people need to be careful, because I think some people think they can go to football and do and say whatever they want, and there's a line. You can't cross that line. Once you cross that line, you're on your own, and you do deserve the consequences that come with you.
It's kind of like they shout it and think they're going to get away with it because they're amongst the crowd. And most people, what you'd expect most people to point them out and noof them out, and say who it's actually who's done it. But they're on his back from the minute from that corner. Because I remember rightly, isn't that the corner where a lot of their singing fans, where they a lot of their singing for years. I mean, you could hear them booing straight from the off every time he got the ball in that corner. So that's obvious where it's come from. That sort of section of the crowd.
Yeah, to be honest, all of us have been in the Emirates, and you brought your boy down into Block 5 with us, Andrew. And there's every race, creed, colour in Arsenal. And I think, Lyle, you pointed out before about young Jude. He's come there with his mum and his aunt and so on. And we are, I don't want to go into too deep and stuff, but Arsenal's always been an inclusive club, and that's the way it should be. Lightening the note.
My memory is longer than all of you. My memory is longer than all of you. And even when this behaviour was rife in the 70s and early 80s, it wasn't accepted at Arsenal Football Club. And I state that categorically. And if it did happen, then they were found out and pushed out. I'm proud of Arsenal Football Club for our record, for things we do. I'm proud of the club for the initiatives they've started, not just on race, but other things like stabbings. And we've always been a classy club. I'm struggling. I love you, Lyle. You know that, son. And I hope you're right. I hope you're right about it being education. But I think there's still the odd one that just
of course. There's always a wronging out there. But I just think that there's too many, and I'll be honest, right? I think there's too many young kids, right, who are between the age of 16, 15 to 20, 21, who are going to football, and a lot of them are on substances, and they almost want to hark back to the 70s and the 80s. I don't understand it personally, but I think a lot of these kids need education, right? They need to realise that, hang on, it's just a game of football. We love football, it's our passion, it's our hobby, but it's a game of football, lads, and I think problem is that some people just take it too far, and they need the education. And you're right, Trev. There are, the 1, 2, 3 people who are not right in the head, but I just think a lot of these young kids need to be, shown a guiding hand.
Mm.
Guiding hand or a right hand.
Before we need to clarify something that was put in the comments here, and there's a starred comment on there. It was by Heath, and we've gone to VAR, okay? Because Heath asked about, you've got this image here where I'm clearly in view, and you can see Trevor's clearly in view, you can see Dan's clearly in view, and all of a sudden everybody's out of view except for Trevor. Okay, Trevor climbed over man, beast, child, everybody. He saw a camera and he was there.
Trust me, I didn't see a camera. I just saw Jesus looking straight at us.
I
can remember exactly what happened. So I wasn't under the influence. I wasn't under the influence of alcohol last night.
None of us were.
Exactly what happened. When we scored, I fell forward a bit, and the bloke in the row in front of me, I pushed him forward a bit. So as I apologised, I just stepped over and stood on his seat. I thought, sorry, mate, you're out of the way now. I'm standing on your seat. And that was it, yeah.
Theo spotted you straight away. Literally, the minute the goal went in behind the goal, Theo went, "There's Trev."
Yeah, as he went forward, his legs came back and knocked me back. So I'm back and hitting the guy behind me. To be honest, it was carnage at that point. It was carnage. Actually,
I'll tell you, I've got to cut you off again. This lad Dan Gunn is on my back a bit tonight, isn't he? Hey? What have I done to deserve this, man? I'm always
over land, sea, man, woman, and child.
Oh dear!
Listen, up next, we've got a small game on Sunday. There's a few things happening Sunday. Obviously, hey, we're going to have a couple of beers. It's my birthday on Sunday, so we'll be meeting in the local as we do. Have a couple of pints. I may be slightly intoxicated if anybody bumps into me at the Emirates on Sunday, but I'm sure I'll have no voice by the time 4:30 comes. We play Liverpool. It's a season-defining game. The fans need to be up for this. We need to be on board. It's really, really, really important that everybody is in there like 5-10 minutes beforehand. Do North London Forever. Bring your scarves. We do it again. We show them how we. I never said Dale. No, and I'm bringing a cashmere scarf, by the way, because I only do cashmere scarves. So we need to be really up for this. We need to be the 12th man. I do think. Trev, what's your view on what we saw last night against Nottingham? They put 10 men behind the Nottingham Forest. They put 10 men behind the ball, and they made it really hard for us to break them down. West Ham done the very same against us, and other teams, and I'm sure Sheffield United and other teams of that ilk will just do that low block. Now, when you get a team like Liverpool who can play a bit of football and they've got a forward line that they can attack, it's got to give us a better chance to have a really good game of football and probably see a good few goals.
Oh, look, Ferg, right? This tactic's backfired now. West Ham come to the Arsenal and got away with that tactic, right? Mm. They got away. They were a bit lucky at times and they done us, and you got all your hands up. Palace tried to do it. No way. Forest tried to do it last night, and eventually we were too good and we broke them down. But that won't. I can't see that happening on Sunday against Liverpool.
No, I can't.
I mean, Liverpool were too good a side, and you've only got to look at the game that game of football. The 1-1 draw at Liverpool was one of the best games of football I've seen in years. The skill levels and the pace levels were off the scale, and I'm sure that's how it'll be on Sunday. I've got to say, I'm absolutely gutted I'm not going. It's one of the very few weekends I can't make it. I've got a family occasion that I can't get out of. But it does mean I won't have to buy Fergus a beer, so it's not all bad,
Hey, listen, it's just normal service has resumed.
I can't believe you got the shortest arms and the deepest pockets of any man I know.
How many beers did you buy last night?
None.
There we go.
I didn't drink any, did I?
No, none of us did.
Look, let's get back to the game because it's a serious matter, this game on Sunday. I think both teams will open up. I don't think Liverpool could play that deep game with the skill levels they possess on the field. And I think if we play to our best, we'll see a repeat of the game at Anfield. And if we're honest, it could go either way. Both sides have got players that are capable of winning the game of football on their own. You know, I'm looking forward to it greatly. I really am.
Yeah.
Lyle, we can beat this Liverpool, can't we?
Of course we can, mate. We're the Arsenal. We are the Arsenal, mate. They are coming to our manor. It's our gaff. Of course we can beat them, and we will beat them if we believe. And this is what I keep saying. The fans, the manager, the players have all got to come together, and they've got to believe. And we'll blow them away on Sunday. I've no doubt about it. But the players have just got to have the belief. We know they're good enough. They've beat Liverpool before. Did it last season. No problems. Liverpool had a slugfest with us last season. We outboxed them. We outfought them in all departments. We can do it. I just think that these are the games where we've all got to come together. Like you said, Fergus, fans have got to do their part. Manager's got to do his part. Players have got to do their part as well. And we do that. And I've got no doubt we'll get the 3 points.
Andrew, we saw on the FA Cup third round, we battered Liverpool for the first half. We were more equal in the second half. They made some slight changes and tweaks to their side. And yeah, they took the chances. And, you know, when we then came to go at them to try and at least take it back to Anfield, you know, we conceded the second one. What lineup changes would you make from last night's game to tonight's game? Sunday night's game?
It's controversial, and don't shoot me on this. So personally, I think start Trossard, bring Martinelli off the bench for the last 25, 30 minutes to run at them. I think it's going to be a tactical game. We need to score. We need to score first. And ideally, if we can score in the first 25, 30 minutes, it sets us up really nice. For me, that's probably the change which screams out to me. You could say, okay, do you bring Jorginho in for a game like this? He's got a experienced head. He has played in some big games. The only question is, has he got the legs for the pace of the game? Because it's going to be a fast, frenetic game. So definitely for me, I'd be tempted to start Trossard, and then I think toss a coin. Maybe you start Jorginho just for his experience. But it's a tough one.
I'd bring Havertz back in, I think, over Smith Rowe, unfortunately, at the moment, only because, for the pure reason, I think we're going to need it in the midfield. We need him in the midfield, and I'd rather, if you're going to do that, and then have Trossard to bring Martinelli on later on, leave Havertz on, and then put Smith Rowe on with him. So if we actually, if we've got it at 0-0 or 1-1 or whatever, we've got to. It's Smith Rowe and Martinelli running at you for the last 20 minutes, half an hour. No defence is going to want that, and I actually think that will kind of open the game up a bit more as well. So we didn't play badly, did we? We played really well last night. So do you change the team or do you keep it? For me, I've just two little tweaks. I think I agree with Lyle. I think I would bring Trossard on over Martinelli and start Havertz in front of instead of Smith Rowe for them to come on as subs later on.
Can I just come back on you, Andrew? The one worry I have with Havertz is I think he's a brilliant player, right? I just want to defend Kai Havertz, right? I think a lot of our fans have been using him as the scapegoat. He's a perfect squad player. He can do different things. He was probably the right signing at the wrong time. If he'd come in next season and we'd bought a striker, no one would be complaining. But that one worry I have with Havertz is he's passing in the final third. He doesn't quite have what Odegaard's got. Odegaard plays the really quick passes. He can find the ball through the eye of the needle, and he hasn't got what Smith Rowe's got, which is the pace. So one worry I do have with Kai Havertz is he'll slow our play down. And what Arsenal need to do to beat Liverpool is we need to go back to that style of football last year, the really fast counter-attacking football. And there's no slight on Havertz. It's just that's not his strength.
Trev,
I agree. I do agree with Dan there, though. I think Trent.
Hang on, Trev. Would you risk, like they talked about Jorginho? Would you risk anybody else that you would think of, like Partey's in the wings, isn't he?
Well, for me, if Partey's fully fit, he plays against a team like Chelsea Liverpool all day long. But if we haven't got Partey, then I don't change the side from last night. I don't change the side from last night. I liked Smith Rowe starting the game. I like that very much. I thought it gave him lots of time to sort himself out and get him into the pace of football. He's not played much football. Martinelli, has always got a goal in him against a side like Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know, he loves. I think I get the feeling Martinelli might be a bit of a big game player. You know, he likes the challenge of the big game. So I like to see Martinelli in there, right? But I just want to go back as well to the point Lyle made about Havertz. Absolutely, Havertz. There's a class player in Havertz, and I'm happy to have him at our club. And when I talk, you know, when I say that things about him, it's not personal. It's just what we do. We watch a game of football and we say it how, you know, say it how it is. And for me, when he came on last night in the second half, I wanted to see Havertz be our man that got in the box if the ball was wide, and got in the box if the ball was coming in from, you know, deep inside left or inside right. And he didn't quite make that position for me. For the size of him, you see, I want to see him in there because that's what we lack in the box. But I'm sure he'll come good. But for me, going back to this weekend, the Liverpool game, I'd start Smith Rowe again, and definitely Martinelli, because I think Martinelli is a big game man.
Yeah, I do agree, Trev. I just think with Martinelli, he's like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. Now, you're not going to drive them around central London because you can't go very fast. He needs to be on open road and let him go into fifth gear and just do his thing. And I just think when we play that really slow style football, it just doesn't suit him. You can tell he's frustrated. So I do agree, Martinelli, absolutely. But if we're starting him, let the boy run at Trent, because he will roast him. He'll do it twice a week and he'll do it 3 times on the Sunday. Do you know what I mean? Let him just run at Trent. And just my frustration with Arteta sometimes, I love the geezer he's behind me, is we just play this slow, tippy-tappy, side-to-side football. Let Martinelli do his thing. Let him run rip, because he will take Alexander-Arnold to the cleaners.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed one person that is starting is Anthony Taylor. Just have a listen to this by Rory.
Makes sense, for crying out loud. Anthony Taylor will referee Arsenal against Liverpool. No issue with that. I mean, I don't think he's brilliant, but fine. David Coote is on VAR. Now, apart from the fact that he's useless anyway, David Coote is the same guy that was on VAR in the away fixture at Anfield that didn't give the Ødegaard handball. He was publicly outed by Howard Webb as being in the wrong by not reviewing that handball. So you're going into the game where either he's going to try and even things up for Liverpool by giving them something soft, or he's going to be aware that we all think he's going to give something soft to even it up, so won't give something to Liverpool that he should do. But of the 20 or so referees that could have been chosen to be the VAR in this game, why would you pick a guy who made a controversial decision in the same fixture barely a month ago? Like, it's incomprehensibly stupid.
Can't say
Trevor?
further than that.
Trev?
Oh, but you know, that's what we get in it. The PGMOL, they're untouchable, aren't they? They're untouchable. They think they're always right and never wrong. They don't get challenged enough. So you could say to Howard Webb all of that, and Howard Webb will say, "Oh, it don't matter. He's fine. He won't. He'll just do his job, and he'll have a fine game." And we all know that he possibly won't. So I've given up with thinking about referees, because look how much it was depressing us. You know, look how much it was depressing us for all those weeks. Last couple of weeks, I've just thought, right, what will be. It's not perfect, but they're there to whistle and run the game, and unfortunately, they're on the field, so we have to put up with them. And I'm not going to let them ruin my enjoyment of football, right? If they make a bad decision, I'm going to call them out for it. Then I'm going to move on. I know that's not the perfect approach, because something needs to change, but I ain't the person to change it, so why let it get to me? I'm just going to enjoy going to the football.
Somehow on Monday, I think I'll be playing this.
Well, the point of VAR is to stop those situations that I used to face when I made a decision on here, got into the dressing room, looked at my phone and thought, oh my goodness, how have I missed that? That shouldn't happen now.
Somehow, I think that is what is going to happen by Monday. David Coote, for me, I think he's been in the Premier League for about 2 years. I've seen him referee Arsenal 5 or 6 times. I remember his first game. I can't remember who he was against, but no, was he? He wasn't the one that gave Martinelli 2 yellow cards.
No,
it
that
wasn't.
was
It was Taylor. Yeah,
remember his name,
but
though.
I do recall, and I'm just
That was
thinking.
Michael Oliver.
I do recall. I thought it was a mispronunciation of his surname, but listen, what are we going to do? Are we going to have a controversy at the end of this game? I don't know. Listen, the one thing we do know is Klopp is going to come back to the Emirates for his final time as a Liverpool manager. What sort of welcome are us guys going to give Klopp? Will it be a rousing round of applause, Andrew?
How can you not? You've got to admire. I know he's their manager. You've got to admire what he's done, haven't you? And he is a top class manager and stuff. So, it'd be. No, I'm not going to. No, he's a top manager, but no, I just can't. I'm not going to be able to do it. Not a chance. It'll be sort of like, ta-da, see you later, off you go. And you've done what you've done, and you've left him to it. So, I'm glad to see the back of him, if I'm honest.
Lyle, we'll need to get the boys at the Gunners and the Song Police involved. We need to repen a new job for a new version of, like, you'll never get a job or something like that. We've got to do something.
I'll be honest with you. If Klopp gets a round of applause, I'll probably walk out the stadium. I mean, look, I think after the game, fair enough, but it's war. It's war. We're going to war with them on Sunday. I don't understand it. He's a great manager. I think what he's done for Liverpool, what he's done for the Premier League, fantastic. But I mean, come on, he's still going to be here for another 6 months. And absolutely, if at the end of the game, if fans think it's appropriate, they can clap. But to me, if we're going to clap him when he walks onto the pitch, I don't know. I just think that sends the wrong message for me personally. We want a raucous atmosphere, we want hostility, and we just want to be into them from the first whistle to the final whistle. But I apologise if that's me being too much of a one-eyed Arsenal fan. But I love the guy, love Klopp, love what he's done for the Premier League.
Yeah, I don't. Trev, you'll have the final say on this, and then we'll talk about predictions.
Oh, for me, it'd be the same as any other game. I never notice the opposition manager, and I won't notice Klopp on Sunday. I'm there to support the Arsenal. I don't care about what the opposition manager's doing on the touchline. I'm looking at the pitch, hopefully watching the Arsenal slot a few goals in, and we send Klopp off from his last game at the Emirates with his towel firmly between his legs, mate.
Prediction then, Trev?
Oh my lordy, I think there'll be goals from both sides. I think there'll be I'm going to go right for a biased 3-2 to the Arsenal.
I think it's probably the realistic one. Andrew?
I'm going 4-2 to the Arsenal, obviously.
Oh,
I can just do some bit. I just think we'll be 2-2 all the way through. We'll be going for it, and then there'll be 2 late goals. I've got visions of Man United last minute goals and like scenes like that again. So yeah, bring it on,
Lyle. And just to let you know, John Malone's been stuck in a lake of Strongbow. He didn't realise Klopp was leaving. That's fine.
John Malone's superb. I love him. Good on you, John.
Prediction, please, Lyle.
I'm going to go 2-1. I think it'll be a cagey game, end to end. I think 2-1 to score.
Right. I actually agree with Trevor's prediction, but I've maintained this since yesterday. It's my birthday, if you didn't know. Same as Klopp is leaving. I've gone for 5-0. 5-0 to the Arsenal. And if 5-0 to the... I don't bet. I think I actually will put a bet on 5-0 to the Arsenal, because that'll be an awful lot of kebabs and an awful lot of beer.
I think you've been on the food colourings, Ferg, as I do.
Ferg, if we win 5-0, I'll tell you what.
We're not coming home, are we?
Nah. I mean, I'd actually fear for your relationship with your lovely wife if we win 5-0, because we'll be doing every pub down Blackstock Road if we win 5-0. That's for sure.
I will be as well. I'll be waking up in Edinburgh because I'll be sleeping on that train all the way back.
I'll tell you what.
Be crashed in my house, sleeping with Alex.
I'm gonna have to, yeah.
If Arsenal win 5-0 on Sunday, although I miss the game, I'll get on the first train down to London and join the celebrations. If I can't find a baby for the grandkids, I'm ringing Barnardo's. They can have them for a night or two.
Why not? Do you know what, though? We need to bottle this energy, because I think it's so nice that we can laugh and just enjoy these big games. This is what it's about, isn't it? This is why we love football, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
this
can't wait to
is,
get down
and you know what? I'll pop that up here again. We got 1,080 subscribers, but this is exactly why we do this. It's not for 1,080 subscribers. It's for this last 1 hour and 14 minutes that we've just had with the people in the chat, with the four of us here in this room, and we'll carry on chatting among each other on WhatsApps and at the games on Sunday. It's about being an Arsenal fan. It's about the passion and the love and the family and everything else. I'm not getting all deep and huggy and everything else, but I bloody love this club. I do.
Yeah.
I bloody love this club, and I bloody love what we've got as a bunch of mates, virtually and physically. It's brilliant.
Well, that's like when my missus turned on to me the day. She said, "I swear you speak to all that lot more than you do to me. I think you should just move out." And I went, "Okay." See ya.
Guys, it wouldn't be a Guns and Yellow Ribbons podcast without the noise that we get from the stadium. Let's stick this one up. One that's not copyrighted, let's say, Trevor. Come on, Arsenal. A couple of things before we go. Thank you, Gunnar Ross, for our new background that we've got on here. He's a great photographer. Go to Gunnar Ross on I'm sure it's Gunnar Ross. If I've got it wrong, Ross, put it in the chat now before we leave. Your Instagram and link to, you do loads of lovely photography bits and pieces. Really, really nice stuff. And he's gifted the staff to use in the background. And thank you, 1,000 plus subscribers. Andrew, Lyle, you've broken your duck. I know you've both phoned in on some of the phone-in ones, but how's it been? Andrew, have you enjoyed it?
I've enjoyed it. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm nervous to start with. I'm not going to lie. I was like, I thought he's going to throw me some curveball questions, and he did. Didn't talk about that, did we? When we came on. So it's been really good, guys. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed it. It's been really good, and really looking forward to catching up and having a fair few beers with everybody on Sunday.
Bring money. Lyle?
Yes, I will this time.
No, look, it's been absolutely terrific. What can I say? If when we get the result on Sunday, you can't ask for a better week. Delightful to be on. I think like a good night watchman, I've come in, seen a few balls, got us through 2 stumps, and the big boys will be back next week.
Trev, do we have any Trev time?
No, I've had a great time tonight with Lyle and Andrew. You boys are so much better than that Dan Gunny character, you know what I mean? But it has been a really, really enjoyable podcast, even though I was shattered. And for me, just to finish off, I can't leave it without saying the very most important point tonight was the serious point. Don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot. Remember, we're all people, right? And enjoy your family at football, and enjoy your football, and enjoy it when we beat Liverpool on Sunday.
You have been watching a Guns and Yellow Ribbons podcast by Arsenal fans, which you can see for you Arsenal fans. Up the Arsenal.
Oh, Serdo. Oh, Serdo.
What?
I forgot to. You did it for me, I know, but I should do it myself. Just to repeat what I said at the start, I was both blown away, amazed, and over the moon that all them people read the tweet and took the time to subscribe to our channel tonight. I know Fergus has thanked you all. You came onto my Twitter and you did it, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Firstly, because the more followers we get, the more we know people are enjoying what we do. Secondly, it gives us a little bit of an option to do a bit more with YouTube. We don't earn any money or make any money. And thirdly, and most importantly,
we might get 50p now because we've got over 1,000.
Thirdly, and most importantly, Now we're over the 1,000. It gets that bloody Fergus Keating off me.
No. We got to set a new target. You know what it is?
2,000 now. 2,000 now. Yeah, double it.
Okay, it's all down to you. You have been watching Guns and Yellow Ribbons podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Up the Arsenal. Fuck the Spurs. They're losing.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.